I spent literally my entire afternoon reading. And what I was reading is this piece on ESPN by
Dotun Akintoye.
Dotun Akintoye, ESPN writer,
I
wrote
realize
this
now
long
I should have
story.
been reading this also.
Wrote this long story on Joel Embiid, and it's really interesting. I'll say that. And if you want to get in, start the show, 215-592-9494. It's interesting, but it's extremely long, so you need some time to get through it. And we'll get to as much as we can throughout the course of the show, because I'm imagining many people probably didn't have the chance to read it in its entirety. We've taken out some of the more important parts, which we'll get to throughout the course of the show today. But my big conclusion from it is that this thing with Joel Embiid in Philadelphia is over. Like, especially here in Philadelphia, it alludes to disagreements they've had about his injury this past year, disagreements they had earlier in his career. There was stuff about Maxey calling him out during the season. And the Embiid era, in my mind, with the Sixers is over. And I want to note today, when we look back on the Joel Embiid era, who do you think is more at fault for things going the way that they've gone? Is it Joel Embiid or is it the Sixers? And if you want to get in, 215-592-9494, 215-592-9494. And I'll just start with my take here. Is it all Embiid's fault? No. I mean, this piece talked about the handling of him coming out of college. If the reporting can be believed here, it was not well run. It was not well handled for sure. Talks about an intern overseeing Joel Embiid's process to return.
That might be the most insane part of the story.
Yeah, from his foot surgery. And, I mean, under Sam Hinkie, I defended the process, what they did. But if that's true...
Sam Hinkie had an intern, according to this piece, in charge of his rehab.
Right. If that's true, it's egregious. And this is how I view it with Joel Embiid. I think both sides obviously share in the blame here. I think early in his career, it was certainly probably more the Sixers. But I think as things went on, it became more Joel Embiid. And ultimately, I blame Joel Embiid more than I blame the Sixers for the way things have gone and the way things have ended or are going to end, because that was my big takeaway. This thing's over. Whether he's playing here, whether he gets traded, whether he's on the floor or not, it's not going to go well. And I want to know who you fault more. 215-592-9494. And I'll ask you, John, because we look back at Joel's career, and I know you've been kind of a Joel defender. Like, you see the talent, you understand what he could be. But when you look at his career here, how things have gone, do you put the fault more on Joel or do you put it more on the Sixers?
I absolutely place it in the organization's lap, but I do agree with you. He's got a lot of blame too, especially as things worked so well, as he became the MVP, and we know that it's hard to know how much things changed from the outside looking in, but it seems like he got a little, too big for his britches at times. But that does happen. You see that all the time. The organization, the way that they handled him and Ben Simmons was disastrous. The absolute mayhem that they permitted should never have been allowed from the start. I can't even begin to, I can't even begin to tell you like that. Some discipline, a little bit of discipline goes such a long way, and there was none. And that's I don't remove blame entirely from Joel and Ben Simmons, because you have to have guys who want to dig in, want to improve themselves more than a guy like Ben, who's still afraid to do something in a sport that he plays professionally.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to get in, 215-592-9494, and I think there are reasonable cases to be made on both sides here. I mean, because the Sixers, we know early in his career especially, the Sixers didn't handle things exactly well. Again, this report about an intern overseeing Embiid's recovery process early on in his career is crazy. But in the end, man, I can't get past my ultimate frustration with Embiid. And did he get better? Sure. And I'm not just talking about on the floor. I'm talking about, in some ways taking care of himself. But I don't think he ever got to where he needed to get to with his health. Like, he was never able to go that extra mile or two that is going to take you to the championship level. It's one thing to be one of the best regular season players in the league, be an MVP candidate. It's another thing.
You think his health is just gone now? You think his health is never reclaimable at this point?
We'll get to all the stuff throughout this thing here. It feels to me like the surgery he got last year was some last-ditch attempt. It seems like the Sixers still don't even think he really needed the surgery in a way. Like, I feel like, I don't know, the fact that this piece came out, I just feel like this thing is headed down a bad path. I don't think he's ever going to be back anywhere near the same level that he was previously. And, I look back at his career, he never got to where he needed to be as a leader. He never was the guy who could, carry a team not on the floor, but from that emotional standpoint, from that motivational standpoint.
I agree with that part.
And with his health,
I just
don't
know about
think
the health thing.
He ever quite
what
got
I read
there.
of this article thus far, it sounds to me like he believes this is the final finale for his push in this second half of his career. He's gonna head into this second portion of a healthy version of Embiid. Second half of a successful.
But some of this
several years of playing NBA great.
But some of this is reading between the lines. Do you really believe that, John? Do you really believe that now, after a decade, now Joel Embiid's going to get it? Now he's going to turn the corner. Now he's going to do everything right? Because, it still even kind of alludes to it in there where he's not working out the way he needs to be working out. He's not rehabbing these injuries the way he fully needs to be rehabbing these injuries. And I don't know, man. I don't have any faith. I don't have any faith anything's going to be different anymore.
Wow. That's rough, man. That's pretty dark.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decode what I'm reading as I'm going. And, of course, I'm nowhere as far as you are.
It'll take you all show.
So maybe
we've got Vonnie, who's our assistant this morning. Vonnie just started reading this thing. She's timing herself.
Yeah, she's 32 minutes in, and she's only halfway.
Yeah.
But, Buzz, you said that you did a Word thing?
Yeah, so it's 45. I copied it into a Google Doc. 45 pages long, 13,367 words.
Oh, my God.
So it's long. Here's what I will tell you, I have a lot of thoughts, and
what was your overall takeaway?
I'm not the biggest Joel Embiid fan. I think I've always made that clear.
Really? It's
shocking. If Joel Embiid had been drafted by another organization, I think his career could have been insane. Because I will say this, and we've always thought this, mishandled from the start. Now, he bears a lot of responsibility for, as he was getting older, you become a veteran, you got to be mature and handle yourself. But completely dysfunctional organization. And I think if another team had drafted him, and John, you know this, the biggest part of success with some players in whatever pro sport is what organization they go to.
Sure. Sure. You some guys just need rails, like in bowling. Do they put up the bumpers for
Keep you in your lane.
guide? Yeah. Some guys need a little bit different type of dealing with.
Look at quarterbacks. And we talked a lot about Donovan yesterday. Look at the guys selected around him, Tim Couch, Achilles Smith. Maybe those guys end up being bad regardless. But, I can't. Donovan was obviously put in a much better position
100%.
Being drafted here by an organization
than
like
by
the Eagles.
Cleveland, or where did Achilles go? Seattle?
Cincinnati.
No, yeah.
It was the Bengals. And I don't know. If Donovan gets drafted by either of those teams, Donovan may have flamed out the same way either of those quarterbacks did. A lot of it does go into fit. And Embiid, in some ways, he's such a fascinating study because in some ways you can look at it and you can look at the injuries early in his career and say, well, he did surpass expectations. There was a world in which he never plays in the NBA.
Oh, that
for
type of
any
injury with a
period of
navicular
time.
bone with his height and weight.
Right.
You're putting all that weight on these tiny little bones in your feet. And they had an intern overseeing it,
Right.
according to this article. I want to keep mentioning that.
Yeah, but then there's that other element where, say, he gets drafted by an organization like the Heat or like the Celtics
Spurs
or somebody like that,
yeah.
Spurs, somebody like that, that this thing ends up even greater. So want to know today, and if you didn't get a chance to read this entire piece, we will read excerpts from it throughout the course of the show.
I'll be giving information in my update, but I only have a minute.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really long, but it's very interesting. So we'll focus a lot on this today, and want to know, when you look at the Joel Embiid era, because my big takeaway is that this thing is done. I don't think there's ever any real coming back from it. Do you put more of it on the Sixers, or do you put more of it on Joel Embiid?